like to thank JDog8807 for this story. But before I touch on this story, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about China. And this came out on NDTV December 1st, 2018. And those of you that are in Africa, I want you to really look at how badly China is polluted. What do you think they are going to bring to the continent of Africa? They're going to bring more pollution. They have already destroyed their country. It is not unusual for you to look at people in China walking around with masks on because this pollution has gone on for many decades. Not to mention they have all of the American manufacturing jobs over there now. And those factories are now polluting the air on top of what they already had. China never got their air quality and their water pollution under control. Yeah, but these folks are walking around believing they are one of the smartest people on earth, and they're not, ladies and gentlemen. Smart people would never let this happen to their country. Smart people would never let their water get so badly polluted. But see, these folks have never learned how to make things. And it's not just them, it's the people in the Western nation. They have never learned how to make things without destroying something. In order for them to make something, they have to destroy something. And as you can see in China, that destruction has been done to their air quality and their water. I was reading some articles on people going to Beijing, and they said right there at the airport, as soon as you get off of the plane, the stench in the air hits you right in the face. And you can already tell your body is fighting to make the adjustment to all of the air pollution in that country. That's how bad it is. I have read numerous stories of people being in Beijing, and as soon as they arrive, they notice a difference in the air quality, and the eyes are watering, and the breathing changes. That has to be bad overall on the health. And I can't imagine all of the hidden respiratory problems that these people are having that we just don't know about it, ladies and gentlemen. But there's one part of this article, the air pollution alert issued across 79 cities in China. So I'm going to go down a little bit. And it says right here, as of November 30th, 5 cities have issued red pollution warnings, the most severe in China's pollution warning system. 73 had issued orange warnings, the second most severe. One city issued a yellow warning, triggering the implementation of emergency management and control measures, Xinhua reported. That's pretty bad. Now, they're saying they have taken measures to clean up the air pollution. Don't believe the hype, ladies and gentlemen. This air has been filthy over in China for many, many decades. Now, I'm going to take you over to the article that J Dog sent me. And this came out December 4th, 2018. Atlanta Black Star. Gambian environmental activists take swift action against Chinese plant accused of polluting their water. So China is ultimately doing the same thing in polluting the environment over in Africa that it has done in its own nation. If you want to know what China is going to potentially do over in Africa, just look back at China and see how badly everything is polluted there. Not just the air, the water too. Believe me, there's no way the air is polluted, but the water isn't. That is absolutely impossible. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is a company in Gambia that is Chinese ran. It's a fish processing plant. It's been there since 2014. They hired a lot of the people that live in the country. So, you know, quite naturally, they are grateful to be working. But now the fish around that manufacturing company are coming up dead. They're washing ashore dead. And this never happened until the Chinese arrived. Now it gets even worse. The residents of a town called Gunjur went swimming in the water because, you know, Gambia is a coastal country. So they went swimming in the water. And when these melanated people got out of the water, they had a chemical residue on their skin, and their skin began to itch. Environmental activists blamed it on the Chinese-owned company, Golden Lead Import and Export, a fish processing plant. That's where they're putting the blame. It gets even worse. The activists actually told China they need to remove a pipe that was spewing toxins into the water. All this toxic waste is going into the sea from this manufacturing plant. Again, this is the same shit they do in China that has messed their country up. So the local youth issued an ultimatum to dig up the pipe or they will. Well, in March, those students stormed on the beach and they removed the pipe. Now, you would think the government and their president would be concerned about this. Well, it didn't turn out quite the way you think. The youth that went on to the beach to remove this pipe that was dumping all kinds of toxic waste into the water were arrested. In my opinion, they should have arrested those Chinese people that are now destroying the environment over in Gambia. But we know how it is. It's much easier to go after your own people than to go after the ones that are really doing wrong. So that's what happened, ladies and gentlemen. And they were saying for 2 decades, this West African nation, if they even spoke out, the president would have them arrested and in many cases killed. And the president was Yahya Jama back then. And that's how he dealt with his people. If you spoke out or raised your voice, you were killed. You were arrested and in many cases killed. So they arrested the youth that led the removal of the Chinese pipe, and his name was Amadou Scathered Jannah. He was arrested. And the Chinese people there, nothing. Nothing. So the Gambians are now speaking up as part of a nascent environmental movement. All right. They don't want this pollution in their nation. They don't want it there. So they are speaking up. After the protests over the fish processing plant, Gambia's government ultimately allowed the company to reinstate the pipe that the young removed, but required wastewater to be treated before being discharged. So the Gambian government allowed them to put this toxic waste pipe back on, but they are requiring them to treat the water. Do you really think you should be trusting Chinese people to treat water when their country looks like this? Do these presidents have any idea of how badly polluted China is? If that's the case, why didn't they clean up the wastewater in their own country? Wow, you are really putting your trust in the wrong people. The company's general manager, Barkari Darbo, denies causing marine pollution and has accused the activists of damaging property. You know, you always got to sell out, y'all. You always got to sell out. Jinnah's arrest hasn't stopped the environmental activists in Gambia from holding regular demonstrations over the depletion of natural reserves along the country's coastline. Such activism is long overdue. Filmmaker and activist Prince Bunakar Senkanu told the Associated Press, the pressure on our meager natural resources is getting higher and higher, thus making proactive environmental activism an inevitable tool for good governance, he said. Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Chinese are over in Gambia destroying the environment and polluting the water. And the government is letting them do it. So, you know, it's a good thing that people are trying to draw awareness to it. But this goes back to trying to get rid of these people in charge. I know it's hard in Africa, but the leadership there is not for the people. Anytime they are allowing the Chinese to come in there and do this sort of thing, you know, you got to wonder how many people that are going out fishing for these fish, if the people are going into the water and getting a residue on their skin, then you can imagine what fishing is doing. You are now taking that fish with residue on it, toxic residue, and you're eating it. You know, you have to think about all that stuff. You know, when we have life on this earth, all things are connected. We're all connected to each other. So, that being said, there's no way this is not going to have some type of impact on those residents that live along the coastline of the countries. Of course it is. It's now going to impact any income on people that fish for a living. It's now going to have an impact on, you don't know how much of that is drinking water. It is just, it's a terrible situation for them. But if you don't have the government on your side that is fighting and keeping the citizens safe, then what do you have? Then it's up to the people to rise up and make sure China don't come and do in Africa what they have done to their own country in China. This is really disgusting. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's a damn shame, y'all. But even I was reading stories probably back in 2016, how the Jamaicans were even complaining about how nasty the Chinese people are leaving the place. Like around their restaurants, you got dead carcasses of animals just laid across the ground. And they said in the smell around the areas where they live in, the stench, you know. And it's a shame, you even in Jamaica, you have the same situation. You got a government that is not protecting the people. And that needs to stop. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace, family.